I'm Adri Kyser, founder of Enlightened Alchemy, and I am super excited and thrilled to be here with my friend Cathy. And I will tell you about her a little bit more in just a minute. But together for the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to share with you the missing piece to cancer care. Now, at the end of this webinar, we're going to give you access to how you can implement everything that we're talking about today. So stay until the end of the webinar because you don't want to miss it. I promise you it's worth it. In addition to that, make sure you log out of social media, turn off your cell phone, close your emails, and commit to be fully present. Can you do that for yourself?
I should make sure mine's shut off here too.
Well, I have my phone here because I wanted to reply you in a second.
Exactly.
But so I want to start by introducing Cathy and why we're doing this. I met Cathy last year. I was a guest in her podcast or radio show, and she's an amazing woman. She's like me. We love everything about holistic wellness, and she's a holistic nutritionist, a certified professional cancer coach, and the host of radio show called The Health Hub. Welcome, Cathy. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for inviting me. I can't wait to share what we both are doing to move people forward.
Yeah. So I told everybody, you are a wellness warrior as well. So tell me a little bit more about holistic nutritionist and your work related to being a certified professional cancer coach. This is so important. I know the answer, but many people don't know why they go together, right? So can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Okay, so just a bit of a backstory so people don't think that this was something that I was planning to do all of my life. I was diagnosed, and I'll speed it up. I was diagnosed with breast cancer shortly after my father and I closed down his business. And I went through a year of allopathic treatment, but I was also fortunate enough to work with practitioners. And just by happenstance, I was in a small boutique gym, and we were friends, and I was there all the time, and I just loved it. And when I got diagnosed, I went in and I said, listen, I've been diagnosed with breast cancer. I'm going to have to pull back. And they said, no, that's exactly what you don't want to do. Because at the time, 10 years ago, doctors were talking about, exercise is inflammatory and you don't want to add inflammation to the system. And, there is some truth to that. I don't know if we'll get into that. I mean, it isn't inflammatory if you go excessively, right? It's all about listening to your body. But anyways, so fast forward, I had 3 allopathic treatments. So I had surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. But throughout that, I was working on my diet, I was working on exercise, and I was working on mindset. So here's our synergy, right? So I had a year to figure out what I wanted to do. My breast cancer diagnosis coincided with the end of business for my father. So when you go through these treatments, when you're in the hospital a lot, it's phone calls, test results, appointments. I mean, you're continually on this wagon wheel of allopathic care. But also it gives you the opportunity to talk to people, because I went for 25 sessions of radiation. So I'm at the hospital every day minus weekends. And it gave me an opportunity to talk with people and nurses. I mean, just something to do, right? You're in that setting. And I had several people say to me, they had to stop or postpone treatment because the side effects were very difficult for them, how terribly they felt. And, I'm thinking, I've had side effects, certainly, but I wasn't immobile. I was able to continue my soccer coaching or soccer managing events with my team, and I could live life. So I got through everything and I thought, I want to do something. Nutrition has been so impactful on me. So I decided to go back and become a nutritionist. And going through nutrition school, we have to make a decision along what path we want to go, right? And I didn't want to go along the cancer space at all. I thought I've done enough. I can find something else. But it just kept coming back over and over. I had these little, signs and signals. So fast forward, I did a 2-year cancer coaching program, which led me to this space. And I just felt that I had a lot to offer in cancer care. After I got past that bit where I didn't want to talk about my story, when I felt I was in a position that I felt comfortable, I started talking about my story. And as it started reaching people, I started talking more about it. And instead of it becoming a very personal thing for me, it became a cathartic thing for me and helpful for people that I talked to. So I was hired by a clinic. The clinic owner is a naturopathic oncologist, and I learned so much from him. And then working on the radio show, and I seek out experts in many fields. And all of that came together with this gnawing ache in my head that something has to be done. There's something more that can be done that's not being done for the masses. And I found that the missing pieces of cancer care were nutrition, exercise, mindset, all of these things that are no fault of the medical system. They don't have the time. But for me, the complete protocol and why I got through things was because I incorporated integrative care. And it's not just nutrition, it's all of these things. And we're talking about circadian rhythm and using the time of day and night to try and make our cycles work properly. I mean, I'm sure you're extremely familiar with that. It's supporting our natural detoxification systems, making sure our liver can detoxify, our lungs, our microbiome, which is key to so many things. So as I was going through clinically with people, I was seeing great results. And the niche I tend to be in now is preparing people for treatment or while they're going through active care. So I do one-on-one, I spend a lot of time, and I thought, I want to bring this together. And as you're doing with your wonderful program, we're bringing things online because it's difficult now, especially where I am. We've been in lockdown for quite a while. But to me, this message needs to be shared with everybody who is in prevention or going through cancer care, that they have a controllable piece, a really controllable piece of their protocol, and that's cultivating their health. And I think that this is the missing piece in all cancer protocols. People need to understand that the healthier they are going into treatment, the better they have a chance of getting through treatment without interruption and mitigating side effects. So as I said, I work on all of these three or four components. Microbiome is key. But the interesting part and where I found that I learned a lot was in the exercise space. And what I did was I exercised a lot, but it went from me being afraid to exercise on my doctor's recommendation to me feeling wonderful to be able to move my body while I was going through treatment. I just felt that it helped me so much. And that's why you and I are together, right? Because we have this understanding that the body needs to move, and it helps with so many things. And I've written it down here because I didn't want to misquote, but a lot of research has gone into different practices, and yoga being one of them. A lot of research has gone into how yoga can be very beneficial for people going through cancer treatment. It's good for the mind, it's good for the body, it can help with depression, it can help with mood, and it can help with pain. And it has now been approved by, and I just want to read it to you because I don't want to misrepresent, the American Society of Clinical Oncology has endorsed yoga for anxiety, stress reduction, depression disorders, and to improve quality of life. Now, to be sure and to make sure everyone's clear about this isn't yoga in place of medical care. This is an integrative practice so that cancer patients, again, have another aspect of their life that they can control, that they can get in, they can move their body. Chemotherapy can make the blood thicker. So when we move the body, when we help that flow, It's a beautiful thing. It's a very it's a calming yoga. To me, is a very calming. I practice yoga, very calming on my body, and I do it for different reasons. Sometimes it is for the exercise. You can do a different type of yoga for exercise, and sometimes it is for my mind space. And that's why I think what you have done with your online studio is a beautiful way to bring both of our communities together and beyond. So I just think it's a wonderful thing that we can do together to promote health within cancer care and to give people the tools to help them see how incorporating all of these pieces, including exercise, yoga, and movement, is so vital for their care.
Absolutely. I love something. There were so many things. I was like, oh, aha moments. But one of them is, when somebody's diagnosed with cancer, there's a lot of stuff they cannot control, right? They're just like, oh my gosh. So being able to practice, to have a tool that they can access and be like, I can do this for myself. I can take 20 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, in order for me to have to take control of my own health. And let's take the zoom out a little bit. So right now we're talking about cancer care and cancer prevention. But even before that happens, it's so important to take care of our health. It's interesting because we find ourselves in this hamster wheel where we're chasing our tails. We're like moving forward. We're like, we need to get this done. We need to work this. We need to make X amount of money or whatever, that we put our health in the back burner. We sacrifice our health in order to get whatever it is that we need to be getting, right? So when we zoom out and realize that when we take care of ourselves, we're doing everything we can to prevent getting sick. Unfortunately, somehow, I don't know when this started, we only think about our health when something is wrong. Instead of thinking of our health in order to prevent getting sick, and I'm not talking about getting sick of a flu or, stuff like that, it happens, things happen, but the more you take care of yourself, the stronger your immune system is. And I love what you said about exercise. So one of my things is called medicine, movement as medicine, because when we think of medicine, we think of this pill that we take to fix whatever it needs fixing. But how many people are talking about having to take medication for the original medication that's giving them side effects?
Exactly. And, my doctor, as I said to you, he was, go easy. We don't want this inflammation response. But now, fast forward 10 years ago, I was diagnosed. It's in the medical script almost now. Many, many physicians and oncologists are saying you need to move. And movement is many things. And, we're not talking about going and doing a marathon for some people. It's just moving. And for me, the freedom of yoga allows you, there's so many different types. You can work your heart up to, that high intensity pace, depending on what you do, or you can do the slow meditative. And it's adaptable to where your mindset is. And you're so right about this piece of control, because when people understand that they have an active role in their cancer care, it changes the perspective.
Absolutely. I have several clients and students, they were diagnosed with cancer. And I can tell you one in particular, this guy, it wasn't good for a while. He was practicing with me. Him and his wife were coming to my classes regularly, and he was doing fantastic. And all of a sudden he gets diagnosed with cancer, and it was a pretty bad diagnosis. And during this period of time, he will do some yoga, but then obviously, treatments and all this different stuff. And what he kept telling me was, Adri, coming to your classes has given me so much strength, and it prepared me to not only deal with the initial diagnosis and all the protocol that he had to follow. So he combined both. He combined the typical, and I say typical, like chemotherapy and all this stuff.
And the oncology.
Integrated, the Eastern and Western medicine. So he did all the Western medicine, but he also implemented yoga and meditation and other holistic practices. And Cathy, I am so excited to report that he's cancer-free. No remission, the cancer is completely gone. He did so many treatments with his doctor, but he took charge of his health.
That's exactly right. And with yoga too, and exercise, I mean, again, we don't, with allopathic, medical care, we tend to take things piece by piece. So when we're talking about yoga and exercise, again, I don't want to take it piece by piece. I want people to understand the impact that it has on your ability to absorb nutrients. So it's not do your exercise, understand circadian rhythm, what I talk about all the time, but in the end of my program, it's bringing it all together. Everything impacts everything. So if you are in good health in an exercise type, athletic type of way, you will absorb your nutrients better. Everything just goes hand in hand. And that's why exercise has now really moved into the health space. I mean, for insulin resistance, beyond cancer care, exercise and movement are wonderful. And things like yoga, everybody can do. There is an entry level for everybody.
I love that. I tell people, because everybody says, oh, I'm not flexible to do yoga. I'm too old to do yoga. I'm not thin enough to do yoga. And I'd say to everybody listening right now, watching right now, and in the future is, if you're breathing and you have a body, you can do yoga.
That's right.
It's true. There's a type of practice for everybody. And that's what I love about this missing key for, cancer care. But in addition to that, it's like I have these 4 pillars for me. There are 4 pillars that are fundamental when it comes to complete health and wellness, and it's complete physical, mental, and emotional and spiritual wellness, right? So while we're talking about exercise as one component, also people often say that in order to change or become healthy, you need to eat right and exercise. And I'm here to tell you that's not enough. While eating right is very important, it's only 25% of the healing process, especially when we're talking about cancer prevention, when we're talking about reducing inflammation and reducing aches and pains. So it's not just about the food that you eat, because many people have changed their diet and they still have weight retention, they're still having discomfort, they haven't achieved results that they want to achieve. And some of these diets that are out there are not that healthy.
You're right.
So we have to work all together, all 4 components. And I guarantee everybody, if you work on these 4 components simultaneously, you're guaranteed to see results. If you work in your mind, if you work on your spirit, if you work on your emotions and your physical health, not just one thing, because that's a problem right now, that if my shoulder hurts, I treat it only as a shoulder problem. And I don't realize there's a whole body system, right? People get diagnosed with any type of imbalances or disease, they only see that as a disease instead of seeing the larger picture. So we have to really work together in all aspects of ourselves in order to really achieve that long-lasting health and happiness, and in order to really help the body activate its own ability to find balance and to heal itself naturally, only if we give it the proper tools. One thing that's also very important to understand is that when we concentrate on eating healthy, we also have to work on the other aspects. And that's why working with yoga and working in a holistic, integrative way is so powerful, because yoga is not only for yes, I can meditate and that's one part, and I can be easy and that's one part, or like you said, go and get the hard classes to get a sweat and get your workout. But yoga not only will give you the physical benefits, it gives you mental benefits like mental clarity, mental energy or focus. It gives you energy in your body. It helps you sleep better. All these different things to support health, in addition to help you reduce stress. We all know how bad stress is for the body. We all know how stress is the number 1 cause of disease and imbalances. It leads to high blood pressure, insomnia, depression, anxiety, aches and pains, heart disease, stroke, so many things. Yet so many people are in this high state of alert from the moment the alarm goes off in the morning to dealing with the kids, to meeting work deadlines and all this stuff. And when we are in the high state of alert, it's also known as fight or flight response. It's a survival mechanism we all have, is embedded within us, that says, hey, Cathy, Adri, you are in danger. You either have to fight or flee in order to survive. And when we are in that survival mode all the time, all the other body functions are related to that are not related to survival gets shut down, eventually weakening your immunity, weakening your body's digestive system, and even weakening their body's ability to heal and restore itself. So that's where yoga comes into place, not only as a form of movement as medicine, but also as a way to help you release stress, to help you feel more connected to whatever your belief system is, to give you a positive outlook in life, especially when you're diagnosed with something like cancer. Because many of the people I have worked with, I don't work with cancer patients like you do, or people going through chemo or any treatments or preparing them to it. I work on the other side of the spectrum, meaning that I have worked with them prior or during their process. And all of them said that yoga was a key part of their healing process because it helped them with their mindset, it helped them move their bodies, it helped them feel a sense of control, it helped them feel some sense of connection with a higher power, and even help them manage pain, because when some of them are going through chemo, they have so much pain in their bodies or nausea and all this stuff. So they have turned to more of a holistic way to help them manage all these external symptoms. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's connecting again with the body. And as someone who's gone through the medical system in cancer care, like I said, things can really feel like they're spinning out of control, because life, and I'll just, from a personal point of view, for me, for a year, it was almost my birthday to my birthday, a complete year of treatments, phone calls, getting results. And I got to the point where every time the phone rang, I had to go to the bathroom. I was under that much stress. I was always expecting that I have to go for another treatment, or I have to, not another treatment, I have to go another test, or they needed this or some result. Working on the integrative aspect of health gives you that reconnecting back to your body, where it's been taken away from you, so to speak, because you're just being shunted off. It's a necessary thing. This is a necessary piece of your protocol for sure in cancer care. I just want to draw people's attention to that other aspect of it, to integrate. We're both working to create in health a terrain where disease can't propagate. I mean, this is the health part of it. This is the goal, right? This is the ideal, creating health. And that is so systemic with all integrative aspects of it. Exercise, nutrition, and you're right, there's no one piece. Well, I've got to work on nutrition. I have had people come into me and actually kind of threw me off my game, because they would come in and they would be talking about, grams of this and that. And I'm like, what can I help these people with? Their diet is so spot on. But then I start talking about other things, and it's like, and that's how my evolution has come, that it's not just about what we eat. It's when we eat, how we eat, why we eat. And it's also about how we're preparing our body to accept the nutrients. And all of these pieces come together with movement, with proper sleep. All of these pieces are extremely important.
Absolutely. And what I tell people is finding the right diet for you, finding the right type of exercise for you, in addition to implementing self-care routines and stress-reducing practices on a regular basis.
Yes.
Talking about movement, especially when people, this is what I see a lot, again, movement is medicine when done properly. And when it's done properly, it will support your body's ability to heal itself. It will support your body's ability to restore, to find balance, because that's how we're hardwired. Our cells are hardwired towards balance, right? It's all the external stuff that we do that takes us out of balance. So I have one particular case. I want to give an example. I had this client, her name is Bobby. She was having shoulder pain, and due to her work, she always had to carry books and computer and all the stuff, and then make it even worse. So what did she do? She stopped using the arm and switched to the other arm. And the problem with this is that this is what most people do, is either they have lack of movement or overcompensate by working out too hard, too soon, too fast, and even doing the wrong type of exercises for them. So what Bobby had, well, so with her, when she started losing range of motion, then that led to being a frozen shoulder and led to back pain. She went to the doctor. The doctor prescribed 3 months of physical therapy. Then they added an additional 3 months of physical therapy. So she had 6 months of physical therapy. At the end of those 6 months, her physical therapist says, you know what, Bobby, there's not much more we can do. You have some range of motion. That's it. It wasn't until her and I started working one-on-one together when she saw drastic results. She even said, Adri, within less than 2 months of working together, I can lift my arm and I got more results than I did in 6 months of physical therapy. What was different? That we work with the body as a whole and we treated movement as medicine, not just for the body, but for the mind, body, and spirit. So by making small shifts like that, by recognizing when and how to exercise, by having the proper tools, that's when not only the food that we eat is important, but then it's also how to move the body for exercise, and then how to address a mindset point, because I work a lot with mindset, and I'm sure you see this during the cancer treatment or cancer process or preparing for it. That hearing those words, it has to play a toll with your mind. And it's very easy to go down the rabbit hole of negativity. So that's again why treating the body as a whole is important in addressing the mental part of like, okay, how we're going to have negative emotions. We're going to have our moments where we feel really low, and it's okay. The thing is learning how to get out of that low aspect and have the tools that we need to help us move forward in life. You mentioned you never plan on doing this type of work, and it came from you experience it. In my case, I had chronic pain for over a decade, back pain for over a decade, and that led me to what I do today. And one of my key points or secrets I tell people to implement is turning your pain into your superpower. So you did this by turning the pain of going through cancer and doing all this stuff to your superpower now, helping others through the process. I turned my pain of over 10 years of chronic pain into my superpower and helping people really achieve radiant health, to really find relief from pain, to really unlock the key and have the tools that they need to find long-lasting transformations. Because what you and I have in common is that we didn't want to live the rest of our life taking medication like we were eating candy, or living a half life because we were dependent on something else. And that's what I have an issue with, that's being taught out there. That's completely wrong. We're being taught and told that we need to go to somebody else to fix us, that we take this magic potion and everything falls into place. And we don't realize that we're in this hamster wheel doing the same thing over and over. The healing process starts with every single one of us if we have the right tools. So that's when you come into place in guiding people how not to only eat better in a holistic way, but now how to prepare their body to go through cancer treatments, how to have that support of like-minded people. And in my case, it's helping them incorporate mind, body, and spiritual wellness, not only through movement, but through other tools as well, but recognizing that over-exercising is detrimental to your health, and no exercising at all is detrimental to your health. So that's one of the reasons, again, you mentioned I created a Sacred Movement online studio where you find hundreds actually of yoga, Pilates, and meditation classes designed to help women like you, many women like you and like many people watching right now, become the person that they were born to be, to take charge of their health, to recognize that, hey, I have the tools that I can use depending on my schedule, my special needs, my mood, my energy. So we want to invite you to really have access to these tools that Cathy and I created to not only help you prevent any type of imbalances in the future, but also to assist you during this time and place right now where many people are in lockdown, where many people are extremely busy. Because, we don't want to wait until our body breaks down in order for us to think of our health. Before I turn to questions, because if you have questions, just post them in the chat. I want to leave you with this quote from the Dalai Lama. He was asked once, what surprised you the most? And he said, men, because men will sacrifice their health to achieve money or to make more money. And then they will spend all of their money trying to gain back their health. They're so worried about their future that they don't live in the present. They live like they're never going to die, and then they die like they never have really lived. That's powerful. Mm-hmm. So where do you want to be today, right? You and I, we've been on the other side of the spectrum. We are grateful that we're here now to give tools to people to recognize that doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter where your health is today. Today, you can start again. Today, you get to choose and decide if you want to invest in yourself and your health, because there's no better investment that we can ever do than investing in our own health and wellness.
Yeah. Well spoken. Very well spoken. And thank you for having me here. I'm blessed to be with you.
Oh, likewise. So if you guys have questions, just post them in the comments. There's some question here from Shima. She says, could you share what cancer coach program you took?
The cancer coaching program I took was through the National Association of Professional Cancer Coaches. It has moved fully into the States now. So unfortunately, if you're Canadian, it's no longer available to us. But I took that program through the National Association of Professional Cancer Coaches. If you're lucky enough in the States, you should be able to find your way to it.
Can you tell us more about your program? Because I know you're a certified coach, a cancer coach. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us a little bit more?
So my online program is a mimic of my clinical practice, and just having it out there for everybody. It's a 4-week program. It's chock full of recipes to help support the nutrition piece, but I also talk, week 1 is about the microbiome. More and more health is going towards keeping the microbiome and cultivating a healthy microbiome, and that is done all through our diet and lifestyle. There's not a pill, there's nothing else. So cultivating the healthy microbiome is central to the whole program. Then I talk about circadian rhythm and how that balances out so many aspects of our health. So we go through circadian rhythm and how to reconnect with that. Then there's detoxification. There is the discussion about proper eating times and eating windows. I talk about the oral biome. I talk about exercise. We go into things like supplementation and where you need to be careful and so forth. And it's truly brought to life in this 4 weeks. It's very bite-sized. It's very doable for everybody. It's step by step, and lots of handouts, gratitude handouts, lots of things in there to support you, and a phone call in the middle of it if you need to speak with me about it. So that's in a nutshell what it is.
I love that. You mentioned gratitude. That's one of the tools I use for my clients as well. Gratitude is so powerful, and people don't realize the impact and the power gratitude practice has. The main reason for this is because we talked about mindset briefly, but we have to recognize that the mind, body, and spirit are interconnected, and what affects one will affect the others. And our brains are hardwired towards the negative. And what I mean by that is that, we can have 10 experiences today. 5 of them are neutral, 4 are positive, and 1 is negative. And chances are that chances are the rest of the day and before you go to bed, you're going to be thinking about that negative one. You're going to maybe wake up in the middle of the night thinking about that experience. Maybe wake up the next morning thinking about that negative experience, negating the other 4 positive experiences.
So true. I said to my kids not too long ago, they would say, remember when I hit my head? Remember when I was like, do you remember anything positive in your childhood? Like, all I'm hearing is the negative stuff. Yeah, if I think about it, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so true. You think about the negative because it impacts you in such a way that you never wanted to do that again.
Absolutely. It's crazy.
It is.
So when we do a gratitude practice, I'm typing our links in here for Cathy's program and my event too. When you work on a daily gratitude practice or journaling, you begin to train your brain to focus on the positive. Back then, many years ago, people used to believe that you're born with X amount of brain cells and that's it. And now thanks to neuroplasticity, we have discovered that the brain can change, and meditation can actually change the structure of your brain. It can enhance memory, concentration, improve sense of self, and mood, and all the stuff that's related to your brain. So just by simply writing gratitude, things that you're grateful for every day, simply by meditating, by practicing yoga, not only you working on your physical health, we're working now in our brain health, in the chemistry in our body, in our emotional aspects of ourselves, and in our spiritual aspects of ourselves. So that's extremely powerful, guys.
It is. And people that have gone through it, and mine is a handout with different aspects. And people are shocked at how, especially when you're going through cancer treatment, you're going through a diagnosis. Still, we're at this place where if you're diagnosed with cancer, the first thing you think of is your mortality. That's another wish of mine, that we can move past that, because that impacts the immune system. But I like to come from a science bent. And this is science. You're absolutely right. There is science in gratitude, and it's a powerful thing. And when you actually give yourself, just try a little bit with the gratitude, even when you're in a dark place, even when life is really not, it's giving you a kick in the pants, there's always something to be grateful for. Always something to be grateful for.
Absolutely. Yes, we get to choose. I always tell people, even not choosing is a choice. So we get to choose every day what we want to accomplish in our life. We get to choose today. It doesn't matter how healthy or unhealthy we are at this moment. We get to choose to get healthier. Just by choosing at this moment, we get to get healthier. So again, if you have questions, health-related questions, health and wellness questions like diet, exercise, etc., post them in the comment. I posted it here. Cathy's link and my link to get access and implement some of the stuff we already have worked to talk about today. And let's see if any more comments or questions come in right now. But it's been such a pleasure, and
for me too.
We can talk about these for days.
Really could, right? Like, this is not a scripted thing. This is like, let's get on and let's talk and let's bring something positive into Wednesday afternoon, right? It's just, we could talk forever.
Absolutely. And just again, reminding people of the importance of health and wellness, the importance of taking care of themselves, being proactive and taking charge of our health. Again, we're getting bombarded by information, take this pill or that pill and the stuff, like we think we have to get to somebody else to fix us, when it starts within. So get the tools, get the practices. If you don't have the tools, figure out how to get the tools. And what I mean is get the training, get the information, get the support, get the coach, get the programs that will help you take charge of your health instead of giving your health to somebody else. I laugh every time I go to a doctor or a chiropractor or whatever, and they're like, you're so in tune with your body. I was like, and to me, I laugh because it makes sense. I mean, to me, it's natural, but they're saying like, yeah, there are people that don't know how to even describe what they're feeling or don't realize what they're feeling because they're disconnected. So this is the part where all of us have to do our part. So let me say, Gina G says, sorry, I came in a couple minutes late. Would you be able to post this again on Cathy's website? Yes, we're going to send a replay of this webinar, and Cathy will have a link to then post this webinar anywhere she wants. I will be posting it in my YouTube channel as well, and we'll figure out ways for you to see this webinar and have access to our to the links that we are providing here. So let's see. You're welcome, Gina. Anybody else with any questions? Where we want to be respectful and mindful of everybody's time. Other than that, any final thoughts, Cathy?
I just thank you for allowing me to be in your space. You give me energy that I need, and thank you. And thank you to everyone who took the time out of your busy day to join us. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. You're welcome, Linda. Linda says, thank you, Adri and Cathy. As always, it's my pleasure, guys. So I cannot wait to meet all of you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Cathy or me directly. Cathy, what's your website?
CathyBiase.com.
Perfect. Mine is adrikaiser.com. Our names are there. You can see it. So just add the .com. You can find us
you're
there.
good to go.
Social media, we're here
Yes.
to support you and help you in any way we can. Remember, everything begins and ends with you. You are the only one that can choose to take charge of your health. You are the only one that can decide if you're ready to become the person you were born to be. You are the only one that can say, I'm ready to live my best life. So it's not up to anybody else. Everything ends and starts with you. So with that, thank you so much, everybody. Have a beautiful rest of your morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever you are in the world. Until next time, see you soon, guys.